Hey, my name is Matt and welcome back to the channel. Today, we are talking about domaining and what it means and what it takes to find a domain that is actually worth your money. There's a lot of good information in this video. Please stick around to the end. I think you're going to find a lot of value in it. So if that sounds good, smash the like button and let's dive in. We're looking at domains, okay? So I've seen a lot of people will buy a domain without understanding what goes into it, okay? So they might buy it for the name because it's cute. They might buy it for the ranking, okay? There's a bunch of reasons why people will buy a domain. And the key point here is that domains come and go. So you might buy it, and you own it, but every year you do have to pay a renewal fee. So if you decide not to renew it, if you retire, if you close the business, whatever it may be, then the domain goes to something called an auction, where people like myself might swoop in and buy a domain for whatever the cost may be. Sometimes you get a deal at $10, sometimes it's $1,000. It depends on the domain and what it actually is worth. And that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. There's also something called expireddomains.net, and there's a lot of these sites out there, but something like that is really where the auction domains that don't sell go to die. So if you go to expireddomains.net, you will see there's probably millions of domains over there that are just dead and sitting and waiting for somebody like yourself to go in and swoop them up. But I have to caution you, because people seem to go there, they buy a domain because they think it's a cute name, and they just buy it, and they don't understand that there's a bunch of research that goes into the back end of the domain, stuff that you can't see with your naked eye, and they buy it, and then when they start looking at the goods, they open the hood of the car, they realize that it's missing an engine. So you don't want to do that, especially because people have bought really expensive domains that have no engine to them. So without an engine, without a method of propelling yourself forward, then you can end up in a pit, and you don't want to do that. So what goes into a domain? So we're talking about name and ranking, okay? And these are really the two big ways that I look at a domain. So name is it a good name? Is it something that you'd want to own? Is it a Prada bag? Is it a John Deere mower? Is it icecreamcones.com? Something like that, something that is memorable, short, and easy gives it a good name. Now, you have to be careful of trademarks, and you have to make sure that whatever domain you might be buying is not a live trademark, because they can come in and sue you or basically take the domain away from you. But if you can find domains that actually have real value in the name alone, then that is a strategy that you can employ. There's also rankings. So if you were to buy a dead domain and it might have used to shown up for something like best ride-on lawnmowers for short people, you can build that site back up, put that content back together in your own way, and you could show back up for those rankings, and you can start getting the traffic literally at the same day. And that's really because these rankings still hold up in Google sometimes. So obviously it depends on the domain, depends on how long it's been dormant for, but there are sites that I've bought where they literally still show up in the Google results for certain keywords. It might be microphones, it might be a TV, it might be laptops, whatever it may be. All you need to do is put some content there with a method of getting paid, and you're in business literally the same day. That's a big benefit of buying a domain that actually has rankings, is that you can start hitting the ground running right out of the gate. So let's talk a little bit about assets, okay? Because assets, I found this very interesting. Now, I'm not a financial guru by any stretch of the means, but I am interested in the topic, and I like to read up on different things like investing and home stuff and all this good stuff. People seem to think that an asset could be a car, could be a house, could be whatever else. The bottom line, and from what I've learned, is that an asset is something that generates money. So if it's costing you money, then it's not an asset, it's a liability. Now people say, oh, but my house is an asset. Yes and no. It depends on if the value of the house is going to continue to go up. Markets change. Right now we're seeing that happen. In Florida, their housing market is basically collapsing and people are actually losing value on their homes. So it's not always an asset when you think of it that way. Same goes for cars. People say, oh, my car is an asset. Well, last I checked, my car is definitely not an asset. It costs me money. I have to repair it. I've actually have to fix the hood of it. That's my next project. But it's not necessarily earning me money. However, if you were to turn that into an asset, if you wanted to, you could. I could rent my car out and earn money from people renting it. I can rent my house out to Airbnb and earn just for renting it out for a week, 2 weeks, for the month, whatever it is that I want. As long as I'm coming out on top, then it's an asset, at least in my eyes. So when it comes to a domain, it's the same thing. You have to go into it with a strategy and you have to understand how is it that it's going to pay for itself and then some. Now at $9 a year or whatever it is to renew, I think it was actually $16 to renew it, am I earning at least my $16 back and then some? And safe to say I am, and it's just something to keep in mind when you're starting to buy domains, is that you actually have a strategy for earning the money, because if it's going to just drain your account every month, every year, whatever it is, then you're holding on to domains that are never going to earn you anything. So if they're not earning, they're just taking away from you. So let's look at what the value is for a domain. What's it actually worth? And that is a key question, because we can value it based on the name. How catchy is it? Is it easy to remember? The GoDaddy estimate. Okay, so GoDaddy has an estimator. You could put any domain you want into their estimator. It will tell you what GoDaddy thinks it is. But you have to be careful with this, because this estimator is not the end all be all of what a value is. The value of a domain, GoDaddy might say it's worth $500. But if it's a really good domain that has a bunch of rankings and it happens to rank for all kinds of things like divorce or law or how to get out of a ticket or anything like that, then all of a sudden that $500 sounds pretty small. Because if you can refer somebody to a divorce lawyer, you might get a payout of $500 per action. Maybe you get 100 people a month to that website. Maybe you get 2 or 3 of those per month. So is it worth the $500? Would you give it up for $500? Probably not. It's just something to keep in mind. We talked about name. Let's talk about the backlinks. Okay? People are obsessed with backlinks. And backlinks are important when it comes to SEO. If you want to rank, you got to have some good backlinks. But there's a fine line between good backlinks and bad. And when you do your research on the domain, you need to make sure that the backlinks are not junk, because a lot of people will spend money buying these. They'll go on Fiverr, they'll spend $5 or $100, and they'll buy 1,000 backlinks to their site. And what it will do, and I've seen this firsthand, it will boost the site temporarily. But after about a month, it's going to crash the site. You're going to lose all your traffic because Google's going to mark it as spam, and you've wasted your investment of $1,000 or whatever it is that you put into it. Because then you have to walk away from the site and find something else to do. So I highly advise you to be careful about backlinks, but just know that there are good backlinks out there. You could get a backlink from like Wikipedia, Reddit. You could get from around the internet some really good backlinks. Most of the big sites, however, that give out backlinks are something called no-follow links. So that might mean that it will link to you, but it might not be giving you the SEO juice that you're expecting from it. So it's still good to have, but just something to keep in mind that it's not a yes or no answer. It depends. Talk a little bit about rankings. We already talked about this, but basically you could buy something that has a ranking already. So, it might already show up for best mower for Christmas, something like that. These sites, If you do the research, you could figure that out using the tools that I have, like Ahrefs, and that will show you, at least on the cheaper plan, you can see the last 6 months, and then if you upgrade, you could get like a lifetime history, and you could see what it used to show up for. So let's say that you've bought your site, it's a good site, you've put some good stuff up on it, and you're trying to figure out how to actually turn this into money. So there's a site that I own that I want to talk about. It's called finestlawns.com. And the reason why I bought this site was not for anything but the name. I liked the name. So why do I like this name so much? Well, it's short, it's memorable, it's easy, and there's no trademarks for it. At least there weren't when I bought it. And the name alone could be something that I can build a business from. I could start a lawn company if I wanted to. I could build it up and do something else with it. It's really in my court, whatever it is that I want to do with it. Let's talk a little bit more about the decision to buy it. I decided to buy it for the name. Now, it didn't really rank for much, right? So we were talking about rankings. Okay, so if we were to do like a split test of name versus rank, this would get a big X on rank because it's not good, but it would get a big check on name. So I did not buy it for the rankings. However, if I wanted to build it up and do that, I could. Now, how would I turn this into a business if I really wanted to make this work? Well, like I just said, I could put content on it. I could create 50, 100, 200 pieces of blog posts and slowly but surely build the site back up, make sure that everything that used to be there is live, and then actually build it moving forward. So I can focus it on different things that earn me a lot of money. Things like selling lawn mowers, right? We could do ride-on mowers. We could do heavier equipment in that niche. I can also do pay-per-call, which is basically where I bring leads to a landscaper. So somebody calls up the phone number on my site, I get paid. As long as they stay on for long enough, I'll put it on the screen here. You guys can see what the pay-per-call typically pays out. I think it's in the $30 range. I can run ads to the site. I can run a press release. I could do a seasonal press release if I wanted to, where I just do the top 5 chainsaws for this summer, or the best weed whackers, or the best tricks and tips of cleaning out your lawn after the fall. Different stuff like that. I could drive traffic to the site using a news site to bring in that traffic. I could also link back to my website. So let's say I have a Pinterest page or Facebook or TikTok, whatever that may be. I could start sending people to the site that way. That way I'm not worried about ranking necessarily. I'm just sending direct traffic from other methods. And the best part about having a domain like this is that if I really wanted to sell it, I could. I can approach a landscaper and say, hey, this domain's worth X thousands of dollars, whatever it is that I deem it necessary. And I could say, hey, this could bring you a lot of business. So in the eyes of the business owner, let's say they get a contract for the year. Let's say they get paid $1,000 for the year just to do lawn cleanups. Okay, so all they would need to do is get 2 leads, 2 actual paying customers using my website to do that. So if I can provide them everything that they need to do that, then it's kind of a no-brainer. They'll buy the site because, yeah, are they going to get 2 people to sign up in a year? Probably. That way it pays for the website itself and then some. And now it's their asset to hold on to. And the best part about selling a domain is that you get paid really quickly. Now you would sell it via GoDaddy or Namecheap or wherever it's registered at. And assuming the other person has a username on that platform, it's very easy to sign up for. If they have a GoDaddy account, it's instantaneous. They get the domain, you get the money, and you can move on. We talked about all the traffic methods. We talked about the methods of making the money with it, right? So we could do offers, we could do calls, you could do affiliate stuff. You could literally start your own business. Just do a side hustle with it. especially right now. Everybody's lawn is a disaster because everything's overgrowing. And then again, we come back to this idea of the asset. Is this thing earning money or is it not? And if the site isn't earning money, then you need to re-strategize, you need to figure it out and see if there's a way to do it. And if there's not a way to do it, then get rid of it, sell it, whatever it is you got to do, and get it out the door. But if you want to start earning money with these sites, I really suggest that you head over to mattmakesmoney.com, opt into the mailing list, and I'll see you guys very soon.